Welcome to a new update. Today it's time to discuss why altcoins might or might not be a good moment to buy them. We're going to take a look at the overall market cap and we're going to look at the perspective from here, which we define through several charts. So it's going to be a little bit of a deep dive, but that's what we're going to do, as the altcoin portfolio will also be covered for a little bit, but there's not much to update on that one. Before we continue, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Also make sure to join our premium group or our public group. In the premium group you can follow my portfolio, which has done 20% in 2 months, and you can follow educational trade IDs, which have been granting 120% in 2023. And because I'm saying that, I want to share something with you, which is that we've got 2 more days of discount taking place at this point, which is for our premium membership, but it's also for our crypto course. So what you can see here is 20% off on everything. All memberships only for 2 days more. It is with the code trading20, and it can grant you access to all the trades that I do, all the trades that the premium or that the traders are doing, which is included in that result of 120%. So make sure to use that. It's only today and tomorrow, and then we are removing it. When I would like to discuss the altcoins, I would like to discuss the fact that I've been making this very long post, which is called the investor's perspective in crypto markets, usually following history. And this is because most people have been anticipating or are anticipating a case of Bitcoin going to 12K from here. That would mean that altcoins are completely getting destroyed in the coming few months. Macroeconomic playing field is going to change. That's going to push markets around. But then we also have the SEC suing Binance, the DOJ following Binance as well, and potentially looking into fraud around Binance. But then we've got another case, which is traditional finance are jumping into the markets through the fact that there are multiple ETFs, Bitcoin spot ETFs being applied. And additionally, we've had 11 or 12 Ethereum futures ETFs, which are filed in the past week. Didn't really get any news, but the ETF applications for Ethereum are significant, which means that if all of those are applying an Ethereum ETF, Ethereum is not a security. It didn't kick the mass yet, which means that it is granting you an opportunity before the actual news comes out. And then we've got the macroeconomic playing field. But if you look at it, it's all noise in a way. What is going to move the crypto markets? It is because yields are going down, the policy is going to stop or pause from the Fed. It is the dollar moving down, and then we start to move alongside gold as Bitcoin starts to move as a safe haven. That's the actual reason why BlackRock and other big institutions want to have Bitcoin in their portfolio. Actually, the CEO of BlackRock mentioned that Bitcoin is a better case than gold. It is the gold of this era. So in terms of correlation, of course we are correlating with stocks still, but the heavy correlation you can find is with gold. And gold has not been moving much in the past few months. It has been going down because of the fact that people have been anticipating a yields increase. Yields have been hitting new highs, especially the 10 years, the 2 years. They have all been hitting new highs. And they can be starting to fall off a roof, which is because the past days, or yesterday actually, we've got NFP data. NFP data is important. It is providing the amount of jobs that have been opened in the past month in the economy, and usually an indicator of strength or weakness of the US economy. It came out worse than expected, but then also June came out worse than expected. It was revised downwards, so the number even got worse. And the data that we got from the past 2 months is the worst which we have seen in more than 2 years. That means that the labor markets are not tight anymore. The labor markets are going to have a serious impact. The unemployment rate reaches 3.5%. But the fact that there are less jobs being opened is not being shown in the unemployment rate yet, but it will be shown in the coming few months because there's always a lag in between. That is the first signal that you want to see. It is approximately 9 months after we started the entire hiking procedure, which is also the length of the Bitcoin bear market. What we also see is that next week is CPI data. Core CPI is being expected to still be relatively high. Normal CPI probably is going to be around 3% as an expectation. If that comes in positive, Bitcoin is on the edge of breaking out. And yes, we can still have a correction to 27 to 28k, but I think that the odds are increasing that we start to rally up, especially if gold starts to pick up. Now, going back into the tweet that I've posted, which is the institutional investors, I mentioned the case of the fact that BlackRock and all the other parties are getting into the markets. I've also mentioned something else, which is regarding altcoins, especially in social media, it is retail investors. And most of the vocal ones on social media, those are the ones that have been witnessing the first bear market. They are in the market since 2021, most likely have been building their positions since May 2021 or so. Very comparable to what I witnessed in December 2017 is that the most vocal people in that part in 2018 were also the ones that were buying into 2017. Most of the social media accounts that have followers have grown through 2021, haven't been experiencing 2017, so it's for them the first two. And I think knowledge comes out of experience. I've been going through a few, which means that right now I see a lot of scenarios or a lot of comparison into a case that people are stuck in their bear market mindset. Especially if you line up all the arguments, I think that the bull market for Bitcoin, up markets, has a larger risk implied than downwards. Especially since most are expecting it, but also given the fact that the economy is just getting weaker and Bitcoin goes with gold. So if you look at the data right now, if you look at what I mentioned here too, altcoins have been going down for 18 to 24 months. Bitcoin pairs are on cycle lows. Some are retesting like Chainlink is doing. BlackRock comes out with an ETF. 6 other parties are joining the forces and are applying for a spot Bitcoin ETF. Binance is getting sued. They don't like new parties from outside the US to come into the market, so they want to do it themselves. Valkyrie is taking a 10% stake in Riot because that's the only way that they can currently get exposed to the markets. Then the question is, when they provide that information, does that actually mean that we're going to have further downside? Or have they been providing the news and everything prior has actually been able to accumulate their positions and has already been done to get them into the ETF application? I think that's the case. BlackRock is not here to provide the news on the ETF. All of a sudden come all over the news being positive about Bitcoin to make the price drop. If you look at a comparison, Jamie, the CEO of JP Morgan, he was trying to push the markets down for Bitcoin, and he does that by saying that Bitcoin is a fraud and terrorism money, etc., etc. If the CEO of BlackRock is going to do that, that's when they want to push the price down to get their positions. But he's super positive. So I understand that you would like to say, hey, I'm not going to follow him. But you are betting against the biggest player of the markets, which is usually, if they join a new market, not the best way to go for. Alright? Additionally, what I mentioned in this article too, if you revert to what everybody is saying on social media or just on birthday parties, etc., what you can see is the exact same thing, which is right now people want to buy properties because the real estate markets have been going well. If those are going up for 40 years, does it mean that it will continue to do so? Most people make the decision based on that historical fact. But every trade you do has new risks and rewards applied. If you buy a property 40 years ago, The people who were buying 40 years ago were the ones that were going against the mass because everyone was renting in that period. They got the reward for being so early in the market. But if you're buying now after 40 years of up only, it means that you're buying from someone else who has made a lot of money, and it might be that you're the final buyer. That means that if the markets go up, the upside is getting limited to a certain degree, and the downside is getting higher. So your risk reward is switching, especially with interest rates going through the roof. That same structure is being applied for altcoins. Because they have been going down for 2 years, doesn't necessarily mean that we need to go down for 2 years more. Especially you need to look at the factors that are applied. If Ethereum is not a security, if Bitcoin ETF is going to get there, if EDX launches, what's it going to bring for the markets? If a recession comes in and BlackRock CEO says Bitcoin is a safe haven and Bitcoin starts to follow gold, does it mean that we need to be looking at a case that it will do bad in a recession? I don't think so. So that is the current strategy, and especially if you look at these two charts, there's a case that we're currently seeing time capitulation. What we've witnessed is this peak high of the others market cap chart. This is mostly fueled by Solana and such, but we've seen price capitulation because since December 2022 until May 2022, we dropped from like 450 billion towards 110 billion, which is a drop of approximately 80% in a matter of just 6 months. That is what we call price capitulation, which is kind of the same as what we witnessed here in this Wyckoff cheat sheet. Then we've had a phase of a bounce back up, consolidation, price didn't really move, probably inside info, people knowing that FTX was insolvent, and as a response we saw this crash taking place from FTX, consolidation, fueled by anger, people losing money because they were in FTX, people losing money because they were in Celsius or Voyager, fear and anger towards DCG because DCG has a big loan towards Gemini, to Bitfavo, multiple parties losing money out of it. So I mean, in that way, that was the anger phase. And then we got the depression phase, which is right now. And the depression phase doesn't need to have a new low. Don't stick your mind on providing a new low. Because if you look at Ether and the fact that some specific assets are moving these markets, Bitcoin has been providing a new low at 15K. Ethereum has not been providing any low because the low was set in May 2022 of $850, which was because Sam Bankman was trying to pull out the position of Alex Mashinsky. That's why we get that low on the markets on ETH during that period. So because that took place on a big asset, it doesn't need to mean that we need to go towards these lows right now. As a matter of fact, if you look at the data and you look at the depression phase, some altcoins have been dropping beneath the anger low. AVAX did it, Curve did it, some more altcoins have been doing it, Chainlink has been doing it. They were providing a new low. So those have hit depression already. And then you get into the phase that if the markets turn around, that is through disbelief, which is when people don't start to believe that the markets are going to turn around, it is less expected, it is less favored to be bull because bearish has been the way for 2 years already. So people expect every bear market relief rally to just be going down towards 15K again. And that's the moment when you're going to look at the markets and think, hey, but maybe I'm wrong on my thesis. So then you are going to look at a case of what are we witnessing right now with the markets. What we witness is the following. This is the staircase or the elevator down that we had with the red blocks, which is the downwards trend, which is lower highs, lower lows. Another lower low was created during the period of November 2022. And as a result, we have witnessed a case of 13 months sideways during this period. All right. So this is price capitulation, and then the second one, which you saw on the previous chart, is currently taking place, which is time capitulation. During this period, altcoins are in that depression phase. Bitcoin is barely moving. New participants are not joining the markets. So companies like exchanges and funds and stuff have a really hard time to survive. And then it's just runway. So the time takes over. People start to lose their interest in the crypto markets. People start to lose the hope of getting their money back. And that is where you get the best investment opportunities and the best returns for your assets. As I mentioned, if the real estate markets were, if you were in there 40 years ago, most likely the mass was continuing to rent, but you decided to buy that property. And you are the one selling your property right now to someone else who should be renting. That is the same as if you are switching hands or giving your altcoins to someone else right now, or losing your interest into crypto. It doesn't make sense to do that. So what we see here is green blocks, which is that since 15K we are making higher lows and higher highs. And that is the trend right now. It is the same when we're looking at the Bitcoin dominance chart, which shows us that we are currently in a case of finding ourselves a potential top. It is in line with the sentiment of social media, right? If we're looking at this chart, approximately, in this case, 273 days before the halving, we had the peak high. Approximately 287 days before the Bitcoin halving, we might be reaching peak high of the Bitcoin dominance again. And we might be reaching a case that we reject around the 200-week MA and 200-week EMA again as well. And that is understandable because we are so far away from the Bitcoin halving. Bitcoin is not moving. Every move, people start to move towards Bitcoin, so altcoins are getting sold off. Projects are delaying the case of delivering updates or providing any news. Scams are taking place, hacks. All the big winners from 2021 are just going out of the markets. And that's the moment you want to get yourself positioned into them. So I hope you have been enjoying this update, which is broader. Next week, I'll be providing an update on the altcoins that I have in my swing trade portfolio, which you can find in the Discord. I understand you've got some questions when it comes to Curve. I have been buying some more, which you can find in the Discord. I've been providing their updates there. I'm currently still long on that position. I'm not feared. I'm just playing the game. Subscribe, comment beneath if you want to see some special content. If you want to see some live streams, just let me know. Also make sure to hit the like button, get those 20% discount, and I'll see you again soon. Ciao.